Now to the high-stakes showdown in Texas, where more than $100 million have poured into that state's race. It is the most expensive Senate race in history. A record 4.8 million voters have already cast their ballots. Incumbent Senator Ted Cruz, who is here live in moments, is fighting to hold off his Democratic challenger, Beto O'Rourke, who is out with this new campaign ad claiming that he knows Texas best.
There is something special happening in Texas right now. In really small towns and really big cities, people are getting off the sidelines and into the game. We are meeting the divisiveness that dominates politics today with a courage, a strength, a big heart that could only come from Texas.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. And I can't wait to get on the road again.
So that, I think, pretty well sums up sort of the tone of Beto O'Rourke's campaign and the message that he's been putting out there. Joining me now, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, who is up for re-election in the Lone Star State. Senator, welcome. Good to have you with us tonight. Good evening.
Martha, great to be with you. Thank you.
So let's take a look at the RCP average, which is, an amalgam of some recent polls, and it shows you at 51%, Beto O'Rourke at 45%. But, if you listen to your opposing candidate, he says that there is something happening out there in Texas, that something grassroots generated is going to make that number sort of a mirror image of itself come tomorrow. Are you concerned about that?
Well, listen, you're right. There is something happening in Texas. That adds an example of the slick Hollywood money that is pouring into the state of Texas, tens of millions of dollars. But if you give me a choice between millions of dollars from Hollywood liberals or standing with the men and women of Texas, I will always choose the men and women of Texas. And I got to say, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by what we're seeing on the ground. I'm encouraged by the momentum. I think the momentum is with us. We've seen that because in the last few weeks, the O'Rourke campaign has gone hard negative. They've got super PACs flooding attack ads on the air because, look, the people of Texas, the values of Texas. We believe in low taxes, low regulations, lots and lots of jobs. We want to secure the border, and we want to defend the Constitution and Bill of Rights. That has been my record in the Senate, and it's why I feel very good going into Election Day tomorrow. All
right, so John Brennan is speaking out, former CIA director. He says in this election, those who stand with Trump must be defeated. And there was a time when you did not stand with President Trump. In fact, you didn't endorse him in the last presidential election. So if you win, would you endorse President Trump and stand on the RNC stage and endorse him next time around?
Martha, I've already endorsed President Trump, and in fact, the president came to Texas and did a rally. Here in Houston, we had 100,000 people sign up to do the rally. It's interesting you brought up John Brennan. John Brennan was the head of CIA under Barack Obama. And if you look at foreign policy, we saw 8 years of our friends and allies not trusting us and our enemies getting stronger and not fearing us. And it's that kind of weakness on the foreign policy stage. Texans don't want that. Texans are glad that today our embassy in Israel is now in Jerusalem. Yeah. Texans are glad that we have utterly defeated ISIS. Texans are glad that the president had the courage to pull out of the disastrous Iranian nuclear deal. Beto O'Rourke, like Barack Obama, supported giving billions of dollars to the Ayatollah Khamenei, who chants death to America. That's not the value of Texans. It is the value, though, of Hollywood liberals. It is the value of the extreme left wing that wants to take on and stop all the good progress we've seen the last 2 years with jobs, with security, and with freedom.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, the president has made the caravan a big issue of late, and we've, talked a lot about the progression of it. It's still quite a distance away, but it's become a very potent issue in this campaign. And there are some evangelical voters in Texas who've been speaking out, who say that they want a more compassionate perspective given to those members of the caravan, and that some of them are crossing over from Republican to Democrat. What's your response? You're laughing. What's funny?
Martha, you're too smart to fall for that. That is silly media spin. Yes, the New York Times found 3 evangelicals in the state of Texas supporting Beto, and they made a big story about it. But if you actually live on the planet Earth, listen, Beto O'Rourke is running a hard left liberal campaign to the left of Elizabeth Warren, to the left of Bernie Sanders. He is the only Democratic Senate nominee in the country to call for impeaching President Trump. So for you to say that he's running an uplifting campaign, it's the most partisan, divisive campaign.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that I got like a whole section here? You got a whole backup session for you. So let me ask you this. Do you think that he, if you were going to just help him with his campaign, which of course you won't, but do you think he ran too far left in Texas? Do you think that if he had run more like a Joe Donnelly, for example, he would be a tougher candidate for you to beat?
Listen, of course he did, but that's who he is. He is a far-left liberal. If you look on immigration, he supports open borders. He supports sanctuary cities. He opposes Kate's Law. I'm the author of Kate's Law in the U.S. Senate. Let me tell you what the people of Texas want. If you actually represent Texas, we want the border secured. We want the caravan stopped. Now, there's a right way to come to this country, Martha, and that's legally. You wait in line. You follow the rules. The way my dad came to this country in 1957 from Cuba. And Texans don't want an open border liberal representing the state of Texas. That doesn't... On every issue, if Beto O'Rourke has a decision between siding with his liberal donors, Hollywood donors nationally, or siding with the people of Texas, he always sides with the far left. Let me give you an example. Texas, there are millions of jobs that depend on energy, depend on oil and gas. We're in Houston, the oil and gas capital of the world. Beto O'Rourke voted in favor of a $10 a barrel tax on every barrel of oil produced in the state of Texas. That's not good. And the flip side, let me tell you why we're going to win tomorrow. Because the people of Texas see this booming economy. We've cut taxes. We've cut regulations. We've got the lowest unemployment in 49 years. We've got the lowest African-American and Hispanic unemployment ever recorded. What we're doing works.
So, all right, before I let you go, if all those things are true and he is so not what Texas wants, which I'm hearing from you, why is it so close?
Well, I don't think it's that close, but what I do think is happening, and we're seeing this nationally, is the extreme left is angry. They're filled with rage. They're filled with hatred for the president. That means they're showing up in massive numbers. So I want to speak to every Texan watching this show. If you want low taxes and low regulations and lots of jobs, if you want to secure the border and defend the Constitution, show up tomorrow. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring everybody, because the hard left is coming. And Texans, we got to stand up and defend common sense conservative values. And a final point I'll tell you, Martha, we're seeing a coalition. Every rally we do, this is the 49th one we've done in 6 weeks. We have Democrats, conservative Democrats, moderate Democrats, independents, libertarians joining us in a common sense coalition that stands for Texas, stands for jobs, freedom, and security, because that's what we believe in.
Senator, thank you very much. Thanks for taking the questions tonight. Good to see you. And we're going to be watching tomorrow, see how it all plays out in Texas. Thank you, sir.